Hey guys, I'm making this video basically because I was kind of watching some stuff on YouTube last night when I couldn't sleep, so I kind of then turned to YouTube looking at training videos. I was looking at pad work. Now, some fantastic examples of pad work on there. However, I did think something was missing. I've only actually ever seen, I think, one other guy do this. And it's basically solo pad work, and you think, well, how can you do solo pad work? You need a partner. You don't. You've got two hands, you can hold a pad with one of them. Okay, yeah, okay, now obviously you can't do all the usual kind of jab cross, called bob, weave, duck, blah, 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 whatever normal kind of boxing stuff that you would do, or your time boxing stuff, okay? Yeah, you can't do that, okay? But if you're looking at self kind of preemptive strikes, or just developing power in your strikes, it's a great tool, and I think it's something that people do overlook. It's not something you naturally think about. It's just something I started doing a while ago to supplement my other training, and I found actually it helps a hell of a lot. Two reasons. One, obviously you can practice it when you like, and because obviously you're practicing it more, your power development when you do your normal stuff escalates, I feel, quite dramatically. But secondly as well, you're looking at kind of self-protection training, right? You've got a pad on one hand here, okay? You've got a point of reference for where you're hitting. Okay guys, so basically the way I'm going to start off, I'm just going to start off with your normal hook, but I'm going to make a couple of modifications for it, okay? We're not going to go from, we're not going to go from this kind of position, okay, where you've got your feet kind of one natural walking pace apart, okay, and you've got your guard up. Reason being is we don't want to give the game away what we're doing. Secondly, if you're in an environment like a crowded pub or club or something like that, how many times you've been stood there and it's been like that, okay? You can't do it. So we're kind of looking at learning to generate power from what will be an uncomfortable position, okay? Something that's probably perhaps a little bit more alien if you're not used to practicing this way, just more used to being in the gym that way and sparring in the ring and whatever like that. Okay? Yeah, basically pretty much next to each other, so there's none of that. You can probably just see it on the camera, the position of them, okay? All I want to do is what will be the rear foot, okay? I am going to twist it a little bit, but rather than twisting to get torque momentum that way, I'm twisting it and then I'm dropping my weight in, okay? So literally I'm kind of coming like that, okay? So basically I'm getting as much force as I can from a position that doesn't give me as much, if that makes any sense, okay? Now obviously you can punch different ways when you do your hook. You can do you kind of, what your professional boxers would do that way, a lot of amateur boxers will do it that way. I tend to come in that way and use these two big knuckles here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I've got big knuckles on that hand. Jawline here, okay, or possibly dependent on the threat and the use of force level, possibly the neck, but that's obviously quite a dodgy one, okay. So for example, we'll go from here, okay. Okay, so you can see then I just start out literally just banging it and then dropping the weight in. Hopefully you can hear a difference in the pad of that, okay. Good way of developing power with this, I find, is that literally, if you practice it from 6 inches away, okay, so I'll come over here a little bit, okay, so say I'm that far away from the pad, bring the elbow up, it goes in, I'm going to drop the weight in. So I might get a slight twist on what will normally be the back foot, okay, but again, if you can kind of get good power from this distance, you're going to get good power from either from a fence position, okay, or from completely cold position, alright. So, if I go from here, okay, and switch around this way, here, so again, feet pretty much next to each other, from cold. Okay, again, practice it 6 inches away. Okay, then what you can do once you've got that You can practice, as any guys in Thai boxing, where you normally kind of step across with your kick, okay? Same kind of thing we'll do with the punch, okay? I'm going to move out this way a little bit, okay? And then bring in like that, okay? So you got that? And your key down to jump into it. Okay. I'm moving away from your kind of standard, fucking hate that, sorry. I'm moving away from your standard uppercuts where you get your boxing, yeah, these kind of things. Boom, boom, okay. Generally because you have got to be very close to do it, okay. Also, I think for street-wise, it's not the most practical way, in my opinion, okay. I've used them before where literally I've thrown a couple of shots, they've landed, and the guy's done that, and literally I've gathered in the top, okay, so literally he's been swaying, I'll pull his head down, okay, and rather than going boom, 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 like that, okay, obviously you're going to get a lot of damage done, okay, but it's also kind of quite slow in comparison to doing, again, something I actually nicked off, I think it was off Jeff Thompson actually, and it's something I ended up using, and I was actually quite surprised how well it worked. Rather than having punching like that, I'm actually coming in like that, okay? So yeah, I'm using more arm, yeah, but you can bang out a rate of uppercuts, you know, far quicker than you can do if you kind of go, okay? Because this is the typical fighting thing as well, isn't it? So literally, gather them in, and nice and quick, nice and easy, okay? However, what I prefer to do now, okay, it's a bit more kind of old style punching, okay, is that instead of coming like that way or that way, I'm actually going to come up that way, okay? But also what I'm going to do is, yeah, you guessed it, these knuckles, I'm going to angle them up, so it's almost like I'm kind of coming up that way, but I'm just changing the angle, okay? And then I'm using that whole body kinesis chain linking to get the impact. Okay, and then what you can do is just apply the forward pressure and move forward. So as you're doing that, you're also whacking that weight right behind it. Okay? So punches come in, blah blah blah, covered. Okay, head point reference, come down. Okay guys, you can do the same with elbows as well, okay, with the pad. Now, again, the elbows are a close range thing, okay, so when you kind of at this range, you know, you've either fucked it up something chronic, or literally you've just been caught completely off guard, okay, which is to say you should make sure you kind of keep an awareness. Having said that, you know, it's not always that easy, especially if you're in a crowded environment and everyone's like, which is kind of part of the reason why I don't like going to them places anymore, because everyone's kind of like in your space because it's that full, okay? Right, so the elbows, okay? I'm just going to practice them as though I've taken a couple of shots, or I'm bevied, or it's too dark and whatever, okay? But literally, I'm using these hands as a point of reference, so it's basically as though I've kind of covered up, oh fuck, go. Alright? Using these as a point of reference on the head, and I'm dropping the elbow. Yeah? Simple as that, okay? Again. Okay, so again, you've got your different types of elbows, you know, you use your horizontal, your vertical, your downward angle, your return elbow, okay? Don't get a lot of people doing that, it's a good one, especially when you come down, bang. Again, you do the same thing with headbutts. Headbutt's a bit of a dodgy one. If you don't headbutt correctly, you're going to do yourself a lot of damage. But again, just because of the weight of your head naturally, it can do a lot of damage just with a very short movement, okay? Now, there are a lot of different stuff. My opinion is that the score the strongest at these, not the corners, but where it kind of bends, okay? So literally, You don't want to be doing that, because if you do that, you're going to end up meeting someone's teeth or possibly clashing your own forehead and forehead. Okay, so literally, you're kind of aiming really anything eyebrow down, but just watch this area. Okay, you can also go for the jaw, but you've got this. Okay, so again here, just drop it in. So the opposite side. Okay, so you could be up there. Look, mate, I don't want to jump. Or then lots of little ones here. Okay. You've also got hammer fists. Hammer fists, great one, especially for women as well. Because obviously they have nails, can't close the fist properly. So you've obviously got palm strokes that you can use. But literally, hammer fist, you've only got to look at monkeys in a zoo. Okay, it's the most kind of, along with a hook. We see everyone fighting like that on Friday or Saturday night. Okay, it's a natural kind of primeval punch to actually do. It's genetically built built into you to actually do that. Hammer fist as well. You've only got to look at a monkey. They're on top of each other, smashing the shit out of each other. Okay. What a hammer fist is, keep it relaxed. Okay. Okay, if you're able to transfer your weight through, so again, you're not looking at really a motion that you would be, but if you're hooking, you're looking more of you're dropping the weight in, you're dropping the weight down. Okay, so again, this is a great one really. So for example, if you've got head control and, you know, it's just there, you know, head control, okay, head control, and drop that in. Okay. It's also a great one if they've actually kind of bent over a little bit or they're on the way down. You want to assist them a little bit if you need to. Just literally dropping the knee. Okay. So for example, you can start combining these things. You know, you could go with maybe your hook, your crosses, your hammer fist, slaps. Dropping the elbows, knees, something I typically do would be something like this. Okay, that's a typical thing of something I might do just to train with the solo pad. Okay, thanks guys.